Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 1v1 battle. This is going to be the Dwarves versus the Vampire Counts. Classic matchup. So for this one, I'm going off of a suggested build that a commenter left, the Pixelated Potato, I believe. They once gave me a build for the Greenskins Unwanted, which are basically all the greenskins units that no one ever uses, and now this is going to be the one for the Dwarves. So for my army here, we have a normal Gyro Bomber. We have one Longbeard, which was not part of the build, but I just had some money left over. We have Miners with blasting charges, which I don't see brought often. Then we have two Iron Breakers, just the normal ones. We have one group of normal Hammers, one group of normal Slayers, a generic Dwarf Lord, a Thane, a Master Engineer, because this is the Unwanted, so there's no Runesmiths here, because Runesmiths are one of the best units in the game. Then also Bugman's Rangers, and then a Bolt Thrower supporting a Iron Drake. Just a normal flame-throwing Iron Drake against the horde of the Vampire Counts, which we have two Fell Bats, two Black Knights, we have a line of Skeletal Warriors backed up by 5 Crypt Horrors, and then we have 2 Graveguard with great weapons back here with Vlad von Karstein and a Cairn Wraith. Needless to say, just going into this battle, I was slightly afraid, just looking at their army. 5 Crypt Horrors, you know, they're a little hard to deal with. So right here, the Fell Bats were going to go against my Gyro Bomber, which is a good move because Gyro Bomber can only defend itself against them. But I pulled them into the range of our Iron Drakes and our Bugman's Rangers here, so we got a couple shots off on them. Figure I might as well use my Bugman Rangers missiles right now because against Vampire Counts, man, it's hard to keep ranged units safe in the most cases. Although Vlad von Karstein is not the most mobile of heroes, so in this case it may be a little easier. So I see these Black Knights over here, and actually right here they disappear, and they're going to continue to disappear until my Gyro Bomber is like right here. For some reason, this little spire was blocking these two units for the entire time. I'm like, what do they have, like a Klingon stealth device? Because they're still, you know, disappeared right here. It was freaking me out, like, what the hell happened? But anyway, we're going to be putting our Bugman's Rangers on one of these Crypt Horrors. I had my Bolt Thrower on one of the Crypt Horrors, so now it's obstructed. It wasn't before, but I guess maybe the Iron Drakes is too close to it. But we were going to be assaulted by the line of Skeletal Warriors and Crypt Horrors here very briefly, or very shortly. Again, this is obstructed. I didn't notice that before. Probably because I was micromanaging this Gyro Bomber over here to try and do some damages on these Black Knights. We're going to do a couple bomb runs over here, then we're going to pull them back over to the front line. So my attention was kind of distracted over there using a Gyro Bomber, which I'm not used to. And again, my Bugman's Rangers are just going to be firing at the Crypt Horrors, and the front line is just going to try and hold. We have 2 Iron Breakers up there, we have a Longbeard, we have these Miners with blasting charges, but I kind of need to pull them into these Crypt Horrors who are now on top of our Iron Drakes, so I'm going to be pulling out soon. We're getting our Slayers up here to deal with the Crypt Horrors as well. My Hammer is going to have to hold off this right flank that the Black Knights are going to be charging into. And right now I'm going to be using my Gyro Bomber to try and bomb these Skeletal Warriors, I believe right here, do some damage over there. I'm going to be throwing our Dwarf Lord over there. There's his ring, his special ring item that he has, so we put that in there. Thane I'm going to be putting in there. My Master Engineer, I want you to try and keep an eye on the Master Engineer. And notice when he has a red arrow icon, because that means he's obstructed. Just keep a notice of how much this little mother is obstructed. But anyway, we're trying to do some micromanaging of the Gyro Bomber here. I think I'm going to do one bomb over here. Actually, I'm going to do a couple bombs to try and weaken these Black Knights over here, because they are now all clumped up, along with these Skeletal Warriors. That was actually not a great one. But my Hammers over here have a lot to deal with. 2 Crypt Horrors, Black Knights, a couple Skeletal Warriors. It's a lot, so I'm going to try and help them with the Gyro Bomber. Meanwhile, the Fell Bats are going into our Iron Drakes, which I'm going to have to fight in melee with the Bugman's Rangers and the Master Engineer to try and get them away from the Iron Drakes, because they're just too fast. Like, you can't run away from Fell Bats. Look at all this damage, though, that the Gyro Bomber is actually doing on that clump of troops. It's pretty good. But now I'm going to pull the Gyro Bomber over here because the Graveguard with great weapons are coming in, so I'm going to try and bomb their position this time. So there's one group that I'm trying to bomb right there. We now have Vlad von Karstein coming in, and again, in the front line, my 2 Iron Drakes are holding, or my Iron Breakers are holding with the Dwarf Lord and the Thane in the mix here. And we're fighting off the Fell Bats over there. We have Cairn Wraiths coming around the flank. I don't really have many units to assign to help them out. The Bolt Thrower, I think, was moving back at this point to try and get away from the front line. And yeah, we done a lot of damage with Gyro Bomber over here. We have dealt some damage to the Graveguard with great weapons. You can see it does a lot. But at this point, we are running out of bombs, so I'm not going to have too many more left to devote to the helping of the front line. In fact, I may be out of ammunition now. So I think I'm going to start shooting the Black Knights, because they're going to be coming back in to try and do a rear charge on my Iron Drakes and my Bolt Thrower, who is now firing at the Crypt Horrors still. These Iron Drakes are trying to support the right side by hitting these Crypt Horrors, who are taking extra damage from fire because they have regeneration, and trying to hit these Skeletal Warriors as well. In the middle, just still a gruesome fight between the Iron Breakers, our Dwarf Lord Thane, and all these Crypt Horrors and Graveguard, and Vlad von Karstein's over here pushing through, summoning some skeletal reinforcements for himself. You have another ring of Thorgy, I think it's called. I put on these Cairn Wraiths to try and damage them with the Fire Breath attack. Iron Breakers doing some awesome damage over there. Iron Drakes, sorry. Iron Drakes, not Iron Breakers. And again, now my Gyrocopter is going to just try and destroy these Black Knights because the mobility is a dangerous thing for the Dwarves to fight against. And again, just keep notice. Right now, he's trying to shoot at Cryptors, by the way. These very tall, standing above the short Dwarves and Skeleton Cryptors. He's trying to shoot at those, by the way. In case you're wondering what he's aiming at. He's not aiming at, like, Vlad von Karstein buried in this massive melee. Nah. So now the Karn race is going to charge into our Bugman's Rangers, so we're going to have to accept this melee fight. I'm going to have our Iron Drakes fire into their flanks over here with their lovely burning fire damage. On the right side, my hammers are just being slowly chewed to pieces, but they are dealing a massive amount of damage, and now the Black Knights are going to be coming in behind our Iron Drakes. So I'm going to try and disengage our Slayers from killing Cryptors to try and run interference with the Black Knights and try and destroy them. The Master Engineer, I'm going to try and repeatedly pull out and fire at the Black Knights point blank range. Again, just keep track of how often he's obstructed, trying to shoot at knights on top of horses. Meanwhile, the Lord is actually doing really well against the Graveguard of Great Weapons, along with his Thane buddy, or bodyguard nearby, and they're doing exceptionally well with the support of the Iron Breakers here. But there are going to be some Skeleton Warriors or zombies. No, Skeleton Warriors summoned to assist the Cryptors over here. The Hammers are all about finished at this point, even with the assistance of this Iron Breaker over here. It's just a lot of armor piercing over here with these Cryptors to deal with. Meanwhile, we did, I think these guys routed off one of my units. I'm not sure why they were pulled away from this combat. But the Iron Drake's going to try now to destroy these Black Knights who are being dealt with the Slayers. So trying to do as much damage to them. Again, we're trying to fire with the Master Engineer to the Black Knights. Now, right here, he is behind a Dwarf, to be fair, so I pull him out to try and fire again. So now he should be basically clear to shoot Knights, but he won't. He won't. He fucking won't. Gyrocopter, in the meantime, has just been shooting the Black Knights from above. And you can see one of our Iron Breakers are now, I think, basically dead. I think this is an Iron Breaker unit just about to be routed off the field. Lord is still doing okay, but our Thane at this point is taking a lot of damage from the Graveguard of Great Weapons. So he is going to pull out, but he will come back here shortly. Meanwhile, on our right flank, the Hammers have withdrawn, and they will come back at some point, leaving the rest of these Iron Breakers to deal with the Cryptors and the Graveguard of Great Weapons, which is not going to be a good, fun time for them. Over here, the Black Knights looks like they got Invocation of the Heck on them. Karn Rays come back, so we're going to try and hit them with the Longbeards in the back and deal with them in the front with the Bugman's Rangers. The Master Engineer is now to melee because he can't shoot anything. He sucks. So I just might as well use him in melee. Right now, the Jar Bomber here, I think, was shooting at Vlad von Karstein. Either out of these Cryptors. I think Vlad von Karstein, though. So I wanted to try and weaken him at this point. And again, my Dwarf Lord is just out here on his own, holding off against these Graveguard Great Weapons, and I think the Cryptors are going to join this fight here soon. And at this point, my Iron Breakers over here are finally about to fall down to the massive weight of the Cryptors and the Graveguard. And the Vlad von Karstein is going to come down here in the middle against my Bugman's Rangers and my Master Engineer, so we're just going to have our Iron Drakes just roast everything in here, because why not? Some of these units will come back from running. I'm going to actually put these guys back on their boat door eventually, and these guys will eventually come back. Right now, I'm shooting into, I believe, the Cairn race right now with the Master Engineer. I think it's what I'm shooting at, because Vlad's kind of buried in, deep into them, so like I probably couldn't target him with the Master Engineer because he can't shoot the fucking barn that's in front of him. But yeah, the Iron Drakes are still just pouring their firing damage into the Karn Race, trying to kill them. I'm trying to run interference with these Hammerers and hope that they can kill Vlad von Karstein. The problem is they're so low morale right now because they have almost no life left. And then Master Beguilement is not going to help them out at all. They were kind of my one chance at killing Vlad at this point. So I'm like, well, now I got to kind of rely on my Master Engineer, my Gyrocopter to deal the armor piercing damage needed to take him out. Cairn Race are still alive, even though we roasted them quite often, which is unfortunate. But we are still shooting into them with the Master Engineer, just trying to make them crumble. You can see their leadership is now low enough that they are going to crumble. Meanwhile, the Thane is being chased off by a Graveguard, Great Weapons, and a Cryptor, and my leader is still holding the line against the Skeleton Warrior, Graveguard, and Cryptor. He is a hardy dwarf, and I've just been casting the Fire Ring, I think over here to, yeah, and there goes another one. Just try and do some massive damage to what's left of those Cryptors and the Graveguard over there. Back here, Master Engineer is in a melee fight with the rest of the Cairn Race. There are zombies now summoned back here by Daddy von Karstein. I'm getting back our units that came back, that routed. So these miners with blasted charges, and the Iron Breaker is going to be throwing the rest of their satchel charges to try and destroy the rest of the Cairn Race and some of these zombies as well. Get some explosive damage over there. My Iron Drakes are being chased off by Fellbats. I'm going to be shooting those Fellbats a little bit with our Bugman's Rangers, who are going to be coming back from routing. And then we have our Hammers coming back once again. And there's not much left on the battlefield. I had to throw in my Gyro Bomber, who is now out of ammunition, to try and assist my Dwarf Lord against these Cryptors. And it's just going to take a lot of damage because it's not really a melee-focused you know, siege engine or weapon, whatever you want to call it. Meanwhile, the bolt thrower is coming back online with their bolt throwers who are still there and operational. They still have some ammunition left. Now all we have left are going to be zombies because we were able to finish off the can race over there, shooting a couple of shots into them with the Bugman's Rangers. I think I changed them to shoot at the Fellbats though, because I wanted to try and free up my Iron Drakes and make sure they weren't right off the field. That's something. Anyway, maybe not. So over here, the bolt thrower is going to reacquire some Cryptor targets to try and finish them off. Our Dwarf Lord now with Vlad von Carson over here is falling pretty quickly. So he's going to be routed off. Gyrocopter, or Gyro Bomber, sorry. It does not really have what it takes to fight off Cryptors, but he's still fighting them anyway. And then they are still trying to kill my Thane out here. This entire time, these two units were trying to kill my Thane. And I think the Graveguard Great Weapons actually just crumbled to death. So now it's just the Cryptor chasing my Thane around, which is, you know, good for the Thane. It's distracting them. Vlad von Carstein is currently being shot at by our Master Engineer to try and get some damage on him. He's going to be chasing our leader like all the way over here, and then he's going to come back this way, trying to get some damage. I'm trying to make sure I'm not running any interference between the Master Engineer and Vlad, because God forbid there's a blade of grass between him and his target. So I'm trying to make sure that the area is clear, and then eventually Vlad's going to run into this forest, so I'm going to be like, well, okay, we're just going to shoot at these Cryptors now with the Master Engineer, because it's a good chance my shots will be blocked by a tree anyway. So we're going to try to focus on the immediate threat, which is going to be these two, and I think I also try and shoot the Graveguard here very shortly. And now I'm obstructed again. But at least, I mean, I guess there is a bolt thrower in front of him, and, you know, like these 6 units, you know, God forbid he shoots at the edge of a damn thing. Like this, you know, this thing that's... Anyway, you can tell I'm frustrated. So what's left of our melee forces, we're going to run in here against the Graveguard and the Cryptors in the forest. We have a Bugman's Rangers back here. They don't have much ammunition left, but they are going to apply their damage to the Cryptors. We're running our Longbeards, I think? Or no, our Iron Breakers into these Graveguard Great Weapons, trying to save our Master Engineer, so we're going to pull him back over here, and we're going to try and fire into the Graveguard. Luckily enough, there is nothing in front of him and any of these units right now, so he's actually going to get a couple shots off into the backs of these Graveguard. It's insane. Although a couple of the shots do actually go over their heads, which is beyond frustrating. So over here, my Dwarf Lord is going to come back from running because Vlad stopped chasing him, so we're going to be pulling him back, and now Vlad is going to be heading to our Bugman's Rangers, I think? Or to our Master Engineer, I can't remember which. Going to try and slow him down with the Gyro Bomber, because that's all it's good for right now. And we're going to have to run our Bugman's Rangers, who are now out of ammunition, and run them into these Cryptors, who are at a disadvantage in the forest. So I'm going to try and keep them in there for as long as possible. The bolt thrower is now going to be firing point-blank range into the Cryptors with the rest of their ammunition. I'm still firing into the... actually, I think I'm firing into Vlad von Carstein at this point, and now he's going to be charging the Master Engineer. Master Engineer does not have much chance in melee against Vlad von Carstein, even though he does have armor-piercing damage. I think that's Master Begalmi going down, which is not going to help that cause. And anyway. And my Dwarf Lord, I'm trying to get over here to apply some buffs, but my army is finally going to break at that point. So the unwanted dwarves are going to lose to the vampire counts, but it did better than I thought they would. If I'm going to be honest, like I thought this was just a dead, like, decisive loss from the beginning. Seeing 5 Cryptors, the vampire counts in general against dwarves are just a ridiculously tough match to play against anyway, and I didn't think they were going to do as well as they did, but they held on to the bitter end. Like, I mean, Vlad was still in a very good position, you know, with the amount of health he had left, but like Vlad's a tanky hero. That's why I didn't try and focus him down, because he just takes a lot to kill. He's a tough old bastard. But they had what, like one group of Cryptors that were still like at half health, and then Vlad von Carstein and I think this Graveguard. I think that's all they really had. Because this one is crumbling, yeah, and this is the healthy Cryptor. So, like, we did pretty good, I think, for the unwanted dwarves, considering we had a Master Engineer who can't fucking fire a gun to save his damn life. Like, it is the most, like, what? If I had recorded this live, you would have heard the rage. The fucking rage of me, like, literally, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I don't rage in this game often, but when a dude has a clear line of sight to enemy units, and he's just like, oh no, man, I think I'm obstructed. I'm just gonna, like, I don't know, sit here and play with my fucking fingers all day. It's the most frustrating thing. He is such a piece of shit, such a worthless fucking unit, and he could be good because he actually has cool buffs that you can give him. He has like little rune buffs that increase your weapon damage on units around him, and he decreases melee attack and melee speed of enemies around him. But like, you need his gun, and he fucking can't hit shit. And if you saw, there was a dwarf match I did a little while ago against the Wood Elves, and he couldn't even target Durthu, who stands like 50 feet above every other dwarf. He just couldn't do it. He's like, oh no, man, I can't see his feet. I need to shoot his feet. Look, I shoot people's feet. That's what I do. And if the feet are blocked by like grass or anything, I can't shoot, man. I can't shoot. What do you want me to do? And I'm just like, fuck. Anyway, sorry. I don't usually rage, but man, the Master Engineer is such a worthless piece of shit. Worthless piece of garbage. You are just garbage, sir. And I don't say that much about units in this game, but you are garbage. Anyway, Dwarf Lord got 114 kills, which is pretty good. Thane, actually, it's really good. He held on a long time against Graveguard, Great Weapons, and the Cryptor. Like, he did exceptionally well. The Thane did really well. Our front line got a ton of kills. Well, for the most part. Bugman's Rangers did pretty good. Better than I thought they would do. 49 kills is not bad. The Iron Drakes got 35. They did some damage to the Karen Race, though, which is pretty good. Both Thrower did some damage to Cryptors. They did alright. And then 151 kills is not bad for a Gyro Bomber. Like, it did do some massive amount of damage with his bombs there. It's not terrible. It's just the micromanaging needed to manage that at the same time as managing your army. Lucky enough, this is a very small army, so there wasn't much microing needed in this battle, so I was able to devote some time to the Gyro Bomber. For Crimson Baron, good game to Crimson Baron, we have good kills in the Graveguard. The Black Knights did okay, but they kind of got drawn into the forest, which is their weakness. And then the Cryptor, some of them did okay, but I think some of them got caught also in the forest. I wanted them to fight us in the forest because, you know, large creatures take a penalty in though. And I knew there was going to be some kind of large creatures in this battle. But yeah, overall, I think this army did pretty well, considering what its composition was. It's not the best composition, because it's just a bunch of unwanted dwarves. Like, Iron Breakers are not bad. Hammerers are not bad. The thing is, you don't really see Hammerers, because you'll see the Peak Gate Guard instead. You don't really see, or at least I don't see Iron Breakers, because you see Nor Gremlings Iron Breakers, which are definitely worth the cost increase and bring them instead of just these normal ones. Bugman's Rangers, I think, are too expensive for what they are. I don't think they're really that great. The Bolt Thrower is okay. Iron Drakes are not that great. Gyro Bomber, again, if you have the micromanaging skills for it, it can be pretty good. Master Engineers. Anyway, again, good game to Crimson Baron. Hope you enjoyed the Unwanted Dwarves, everybody, and let's go watch a cinematic view of that battle. So those satchel charges, boys. Get them, Slayers. Tear them down. Oh man, that like missed completely. Really happy with the Dwarf Lord. He did a lot of work in this game. He's not bad. I know he's never taken, but he's definitely not a bad leader. He's very sturdy. He does a good amount of damage. The fire ring that he has is a really good skill to have in the battlefield. Like, he's definitely not bad. I think the only reason he's not broad is because he's not, like, fun. Well, not cool enough. Well, like, in a roster that has, like, you know, Grom Brindle or a Rune Lord or even Thorgrim, you know, the Grudge Bearer, the Dwarf Lord is just kind of bland, I think. But definitely not a bad hero or lord at all. The only kind of, I'm not even going to say bad, but underpowered lord is Ungrim at this point, I think. He's just not that great. Roast those wraiths! Roast them! Bowman's Rangers look cool. They at least got that going for them. Regeneration is nice, but again, I think they're a little overpriced for what they are. I know my Slayer. There we are. I was like, I know my Slayer should be around here. I just don't think I have many left of them at this point. No, my miners are running. Cowards! At least our Iron Breakers are still hanging out. Oh, this must be when the Thane's just routing. Yeah, without those health potions, man, that Thane... Well, I mean, every hero is not as durable now. This Lord certainly is. He doesn't even have potions. At least this Gyro Bomber's never obstructed. How are you, Gyro Bomber? You can fire your gun. Look at you firing that gun. Man. You know what a gun's used for. I think we should be roasting this area here soon with the Iron Drakes. Oh, they're hitting the black ones. The Iron Drakes are definitely better since that one patch that changed their animation. Because they used to have this like long wind-up animation before they fired, but they got rid of that animation, so they are definitely a lot better than they used to be. Because they just fire faster. That Master of Beguilement, though, man, so good. Just wreck these hammers. And then still out here by himself, amidst all of these terrible creatures, standing back up, Dwarf Lord. He fought on his own for a long time. I am proud. Where's some fighting? There we go. Oh, there's Vlad kicking our Iron Drakes. You deserve getting Saptor Charge thrown in your face. It's kind of funny to watch the Wraiths just kind of get blown up, but they maintain their standing position. There's really not much else going on at the point in this battle. Just this and then the Lord up there. My crew going back on the bolt thrower. My dwarves watching the engineer getting killed by zombies, because why not? They don't like this guy. No one does. Worthless piece of crap. And then Vlad came in and ruined all the Dwarf Lord's fun over here. Both thrower I think is very decent, especially since it's so cheap. Definitely not a bad unit.
Get your beard spun around.
And, as I learned in my recent Crack-a-Drac campaign, if you have it within range of a Hell Cannon, like they're in range to the Hell Cannon, you can take out down a Hell Cannon pretty quickly with these things. It's just the whole range issue, because the Hell Cannon has like 100, 120 range up on these guys or something like that. But yeah, they can take down a Hell Cannon pretty quick. Save the engineered Iron Drakes, Iron Breakers, Iron whatevers, Dwarves. Alright, you ready for like the couple times he actually gets to fire in this game? Here we go. Nothing between him and the target. Nothing to stand in his way. There you... Did he just shoot a dwarf? The fuck? Did he just shoot an Iron Breaker? It looked like he shot and then I saw an Iron Breaker die. And I think that shot missed that he took. There you go. Oh, well. Vlad just killed a gyro bomber. Oh my god, you missed. You missed. He's in a straight line ahead of you. You missed. God. Get him, Rangers. Oh, they didn't get him. Oh well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the battle with the unwanted dwarves. I will see you all next time. Take care.